Welcome to the show formerly known as Comics Curing Cancer. It is now called... We are releasing our new name. We are now a technically funny comedy talk show, science talk show. We'll figure it out. We're working on it. Now introducing your host, Matthew Murtha.
Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, especially Vanessa! How's everybody doing tonight? Are you guys ready to talk science? Yes, welcome to the first episode of Comics Curing Cancer for the season and the last Comics Curing Cancer forever. It's true, we're changing the name of the program. So for our new members of the audience, this is a science comedy talk show that's recorded for podcast and the radio. That's right. This is being broadcast across the world to millions of listeners worldwide. For those of you listening at home, this is being taped in front of an audience of thousands, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep your clothes on. Oh my God. So many panties were just thrown onto the stage. We're also joined by the ghost of Isaac Newton, or as he's called here, Isaac Newton. Isaac, would you like to say something? He's busy eating an apple. Gotta hurt them before they hurt you. That's right. So big news. We're gonna rename the show. We're gonna relaunch next week, probably, in a couple weeks. We're changing the name to Technically Funny. So the night will be called Technically Funny. It will consist of 3 parts. A Technically Funny science talk show. Yay! A Technically Funny comedy game show, and then Technically Funny stand-up. So after we relaunch the page and everything, make sure you share it with all your friends, like it 1,000,000 times, send it to grandma, tell her to share it, and it will be fantastic, yeah? Yes, absolutely. Your guys are going to be a part of something huge. Huge, as our president would say. All right, so with that, I'd like to welcome our beautiful co-host, the talented, the 2016 funniest ficker, Miss Hannah Becker.
Hello, everybody. Long time no see. Where's this?
Yeah, Hannah.
Hi.
Hannah, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. Yeah.
Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm excited for the relaunch of our little science baby here.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I think it's going to become a big thing. The best kind of baby, science babies.
Science babies. Yeah.
That's right. That's what happens when you do lab work without protection.
Always wear your goggles, kids.
That's right. How was your holiday?
It was very good. Very relaxing. Good time being with my family. How about you?
I saw the family, back in the United States, and it was as dystopian as you would imagine.
Yep. Shit's pretty real over there, guys.
Yep. On a lighter note, though, do you have any shows coming up?
Do I have any shows coming up? I do have shows coming up. Tomorrow night is Best of Barcelona at Craft Barcelona at 9 o'clock, I want to say. I never know what time things are.
She just shows up and makes with the funny.
I just show up. No, it's at 9 o'clock, and that's going to be a really, really great lineup. People doing longer sets. It'll be like the longest set that I've ever done. So if you want to come see me panicking internally, that'll be fun tomorrow.
Externally.
And then Saturday is Barcelona Comedy Club open mic. Are you going to come to that, Matt?
I do not want to put anything on record.
Well, that's at Las Cuevas del Sorte at, what time is that at? Also 9 o'clock?
Just say 9.
8:30, 9 o'clock. That's a really fun show. People do a lot of new material there, so if you wanted to see some new material, check it out. Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Matt? Got anything coming up?
Just this wonderful show.
This.
All right. How about we get started with the...
Let's do it.
Comedy news and science. All right. Kick it off, Hannah.
A team of international researchers have finally sequenced, a seahorse genome for the first time and had their work published in Nature. This leads us to ask the question at the front of every seahorse biologist's mind. Will their genome explain why they're so fucking weird?
And the answer is probably not. So the article quoted a Mr. Tony Wilson, an excitable seahorse biologist, because is there any other kind? This guy was in no way involved in the work, but he was so excited, he said, when questioned about the work, he said, "This is fantastic work, and while it brings this seahorse biology into the 21st century, a single sequence genome is unlikely to answer many questions on its own."
Yeah. So what does this say, Matt, for the renowned field of seahorse biology?
Well, not a lot, but I'm sure it's exciting for them, all 4 seahorse biologists. Not to mention the seahorse veterinarians, right? Anyway, they said this was a step in the right direction, but there's still a lot of research to be done. The main findings, and this was going to blow you away. Personally, I thought this should have gone in the Journal of Obvious Results. However, so seahorses lack teeth and pelvic fins. And so after spending years and tons of money sequencing the entire genome, they found that seahorses lack the genes for teeth and pelvic fins.
Yep.
That was all they got out of that genome.
It's no wonder that Tony Wilson was so riled up. Crazy Tony.
The audience here is just so excited by these results.
They're stoked, just like Tony Wilson. In a new study published in Nature Communications, it was proven that male fruit flies use cold, hard logic to select mates.
And female fruit flies still believe in love.
Aww.
Yeah.
Turns out that if you have a twisted sense of humor, it's probably because you're a cool, chill genius. Or as Matt would spell it, genios.
Which,
That's how he spelled it.
It's a mark of high intellect, spelling that word. That's right. So to understand who likes dark humor, 14 researchers from the University of Vienna, led by Ulrich Willinger, they did a study that tested the comprehension and enjoyment of 12 what they call black humor cartoons. And these cartoons were taken from a book of dark humor called The Black Book by Uli Stein.
The participants also completed basic tests of their verbal and nonverbal IQ and answered questions about their mood, aggressive tendencies, and educational background. They found that intelligence and understanding of the cartoons were tightly linked across the board. The subjects who scored the highest in intelligence were also the most likely to say that they got the joke, and furthermore, that they actually found it funny. And yet, these people were not aggressive, nor did they have especially negative moods. So that refutes the somewhat commonly held belief that people who like black humor tend to be grumpy and a little prone to sadism.
It's not true. I'm not a sadist. Now, maybe a little. It's true. I want people to understand, of course, that when they say black humor, they mean dark humor, right? I don't want you to confuse black humor with black American humor. I don't understand what this black American humor, which actually is entirely barbecue jokes. Nobody?
No, man.
You guys must be idiots. I hate to tell you this. You too, Hannah? Hannah, I got a joke for you. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
You.
You who?
Yoo-hoo! Over here, dummy! You're still too stupid to understand my jokes.
Says the man who can't spell the word genius.
I still believe that anybody that doesn't get my joke is an idiot.
You keep thinking that, buddy. It turns out that puppies like it better when you speak to them in baby talk, as does Matthew Murtha.
It might be true. But yeah, I mean, I just think that saying things like, who's a good boy, can get pretty existential really quick when you don't use baby talk. Who is a good boy? Am I a good boy? Or am I dog? If I am a good boy, why do I lick my balls so much? Gets heavy.
Pretty deep, man. Research has shown that baby talk helps infants absorb words more easily than when they speak in a normal tone. And according to a new study in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society of Britain, a similar dynamic may be at play with puppies.
Yeah, so the way the experiment worked is that they had people they looked at pictures of puppies and adult dogs, and they recorded different things, like Hi, hello, cutie. Who's a good boy? Come here, good boy. Yes, come here, sweetie pie. What a good boy.
And for a control, the study authors also had them say the same few lines in their normal voices. Hi, hello, cutie. Who is a good boy? Good boy. Yes. What a good boy.
For those of you who aren't familiar, that is exactly what my ex-girlfriend sounded like.
Yeah. Uncanny. And in the second part, the researchers played the recordings back to dogs and puppies and then monitored their engagement and learning skills. The puppies were significantly engaged only when they were listening to people baby talk in their direction.
In response to these astounding findings, dictionaries the world over are considering changing the official name of baby dogs from puppies to puppy wuppies.
Puppy wuppies.
To get an understanding of how the dogs themselves feel, we sent our head bitch correspondent, Hannah Becker, out to collect comments.
Head bitch, like bitch in charge. Yeah.
Correspondent to bitches.
Okay, fine, that's me. So a 3-month-old Labrador Retriever was quoted as saying, "Oh man, we're just excited not to be yelled at for peeing on the carpet again." Roof.
That is a direct quote, by the way.
Direct quote from a 3-month-old Labrador Retriever.
It was so cute.
He's so fucking cute, that dog.
Of course, the research leaves many questions unanswered. First among those is how much your IQ itself drops when you adopt a puppy whoopy voice.
No.
My guess is a lot.
Probably a lot.
All right, next up, big news in virology. Yes, who likes viruses? Well, this is exciting. Actually, I believe it was published in Science. Turns out viruses can actually communicate with one another. They can talk to each other.
Yeah, but no one's talking to HIV. That bitch is crazy.
She cray. New research into the premenstrual dysphoric disorder, also known as PMDD, a severe form of PMS, shows that only 3 out of 5 women are actually crazy. The other 2 are just cursed by genetics and turn out to be crazy once a month.
Okay, Matt.
This is science.
No. I just want to say for the record that no women are inherently crazy, okay? PMDD is likely a disorder of cellular response to estrogen and progesterone. Researchers at the NIH studied the genetic control of gene expression in cultured white blood cell lines from women with PMDD and women without. And because these cells express many of the same genes expressed in brain cells, you can...
Proving, potentially, that women do have brains.
Oh God, Matt.
You guys need to get smarter here.
Matt,
I think that's the problem.
You're the fucking worst, Matt. I can't.
I'm kidding. All right, so let's talk about the science for a minute, yeah? So premenstrual dysphoric disorder is actually a severe form of PMS, and it's been documented as a disorder that affects up to 2 to 5% of women each month. The researchers in question established these cell lines from white blood cells from patients both with the disorder and without. And then they did gene expression analysis to find out which genes are expressed by the people with the disorder. What they found is that a particular gene network centered around the transcription factors is skeet scoot.
Skeet scoot.
It's cute. These genes were overexpressed in the women that suffer this disorder. And the women that don't seem to actually have normal, what we'll call normal, typical levels of these genes.
Mm-hmm. So this adds the evidence that it is a disorder related to estrogen and progesterone and the cellular response to it. Learning more about the role of this gene complex holds hope for improved treatment of such prevalent reproductive endocrine-related mood disorders.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
So a researcher on the team, a David Goldman of the NIH said, and I quote, "This is a big moment for women's health because it establishes that women suffering PMDD have actual intrinsic differences in the molecular apparatus for the response to sex hormones. It is not, quote, just emotional behaviors that they should have been able to control anyway." To find out how women feel about this,
my God.
we now turn to our Women with Issues correspondent, Ms. Hannah Becker.
Matt, I don't have any issues with you right now. Well, now I have issues with you.
Correspondent to Women with Issues. Sorry, correspondent to Women with Issues.
Well, I mean, I think the wording here is interesting and just shows what happens when you have all men doing the science of women's bodies. It's like, it's not just emotional behaviors they should be able to control. Like, the point is for like years and years, men have been in charge of the science of women's bodies and have been telling women that they're crazy
You're welcome.
and that they're making things up. And
The
it's
word
like,
is hysterical, I believe.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, that whole thing is ridiculous, of hysteria. Like, and it's thank God now finally we're starting to realize that that women, there are many women that experience these disorders that are genetic and they come from their bodies and not from their minds. And that maybe men will stop thinking that women are liars all the time.
Nope.
Okay.
Though I do love that the researchers, to get an idea of what happens inside the mind of a woman, they looked at her blood during a menstruation.
Yeah.
So
That's what happens. Come on, women, do more science. I know I'm a bad example, but
yeah.
we need more women in science so men can stop telling us what our uteruses are doing.
They're doing it wrong, I'll tell you that much. All right. Finally, a new study has found that cats have colonized the planet by boat. It's true. This quietly puts to rest the idea that they had arrived across the world by planes.
Or catapults. Whoa.
No, so this study actually was published in Nature as well. Recently came out. What the researchers did is they went back and they got archaeological samples of cats from millennia ago, up to 10,000 years ago, and they sequenced the mitochondrial DNA. Then they performed standard genetics analysis to figure out where and when the cat spread throughout the world. And what they found is that there were actually two waves of spreading. One that originated in Persia, roughly, I think, 6,000 years ago. And then a second wave coming from Egypt, roughly, I would say, 4,000 years ago. I'm making those numbers up.
Yeah, this study also quietly put to rest the commonly accepted theory that cats are small lizard people performing a very long covert operation to take over the world, one lonely millennial at a time.
When we say commonly accepted theory, we mean that is Hannah's theory.
It's commonly accepted. It's widely accepted, I'd say. If you go on Reddit,
Yeah,
or
okay.
4chan, people are talking about it a lot.
Bastion of knowledge, 4chan. So yeah, the results are consistent with the idea that the Middle Eastern cats spread across farming communities around the Mediterranean as pest control. And through boats, not unlike refugees.
Come on, Matt.
And Egyptian cats actually had spread all across Eurasia and Africa 1,000 years after that. They, in fact, even found evidence of Egyptian cats at ancient Viking sites.
Such as rapeandpillage.com, one of my other sources of knowledge.
The oldest Viking site. Not that old. Okay. So with that lovely pun, that is all the comedy news and science tonight.
Comedy news and science. That's it. Yay.
Please, hold your applause.
Yeah, my God,
ladies
guys.
and gentlemen, I understand. Only the best comedy writing in science for you. So with that, I would like to welcome our guest for the evening. It was supposed to be Dr. Kadri Reese, who was going to discuss effective altruism, but unfortunately, she's under the weather. And fortunately for us, we have a much better guest.
Don't tell Kadri.
It's true. His name is Dr. Fergus Simpson, matriculated at Cambridge, now living here in Barcelona, and he's going to talk to us. So
Come
please,
talk to us about things.
welcome Dr.
Yay,
Ferguson.
Fergus!
Fergus, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Feels
welcome back.
familiar.
Thanks for being our second choice, Fergus.
The best plan B. All right, so for those of you that aren't familiar with Dr. Simpson, he's an astrophysicist, correct?
Yeah.
And
Space scientist.
Yeah,
I think
don't
you
know how
were
describe
referred to
myself
as a
these days.
space scientist in an
Cosmologist,
article.
alien expert, yeah. These are
Yeah.
many different titles.
Pretty cool.
So your previous research has been involved, in I believe the quantum properties of black holes, and then also the probability of finding alien life.
No, so I was looking at more at the expansion of the universe, dark energy.
All the same.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I thought more recently I kind of moved towards alien life, and they both address aspects of the question, why are we here? What are we doing here? And are we alone? So.
I'm sure everybody in the audience is asking those very same questions. Why am I here?
And the talking heads, too.
Yeah.
How did I get here?
Now, the exciting thing, though, is that this research has now led you to a new job that you've accepted, and sadly enough, it has you moving away from Barcelona to London.
No!
Yeah, I don't want to leave here, but I have just accepted a job starting in April in London. Yeah.
God damn it, Fergus.
To develop some AI. I'll try and find. I hope if we grow, we're only four of us at the moment. But if we grow, I'm hoping to open an office here back in Barcelona, because it's good life here.
It's a good life here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in the meantime, it's going to be kind of exciting developing some very crazy tech.
Right. So, for any non-scientists, AI stands for artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you mean when you say that you're going to develop artificial intelligence? Are you going to make a cyborg?
That's classified. No, I think artificial intelligence can mean many things, but recently it's become synonymous with artificial neural networks, which is a particular technology that's really blowing up, and you're basically simulating something similar to a brain virtually. And so rather than coding its response, rather than programming it how to think, it kind of learns for itself in a sense.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, it's a pretty technical question, but do you happen to know how neural networks are different than, say, machine learning or algorithms that can optimize themselves?
I think I see neural networks. Artificial neural networks are like a type of machine learning that can, put the right way, do try and optimize themselves. They do try to learn pattern recognition from the simplest kinds, used for optical, to recognizing pictures, saying this is a carrot or this is a piece of broccoli or whatever.
Yeah.
But it can stretch all the way up to saying this is a human being, and then you can use it in something like Terminator, and then it becomes rather scary.
But how does it learn that? How do you teach it?
Right, that's a good
Does it go to AI school? Or?
Yeah, so there's a few different techniques, but the simplest way is you just feed it a bunch of pictures of carrots or pictures of humans, and it gradually learns the difference. Learns what a cat looks like. So you just got to give it examples, and it's just like a baby learns from examples, right? There are different ways of doing it, but also there's a new way of learning, which is it plays against itself. So one of the big news stories, science stories of last year was this development of AI to beat the best players in the world at a board game called Go. And it became very, very good because it was able to play itself and learn what was the best strategies. So that's kind of scary in the sense that you weren't providing any input; it was just going for it.
That's super scary. So what are the odds that the thing that you are going to create is going to kill us all? Just what's the percentage there?
Not intentionally, I don't think we would do that. But I think it is a bit scary so the tech we're going for is more just predicting things, predicting stock markets, predicting the weather, things like that.
Is that legal?
Yeah, people make a lot of money predicting stock markets with algorithms at the moment.
Okay.
And they usually just keep it quiet. So it's not public knowledge actually how they manage to do that. But so what does scare me though is if people just take the tech that are being used in self-driving cars, for example, and then you put that into something like a tank, then we start to get into slightly scary territory.
Self-driving tank would be pretty scary.
Yeah. So there are people very rightly worrying about the implications of this spectacular growth we're seeing in AI, and what some countries might do with it if they have the wrong intentions.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I've
All
seen
right.
all the movies. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
to step back for a moment from weaponized artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, terrifies Stephen Hawking, I believe. I mean,
and Elon Musk and lots of people.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about how these deep neural networks learn, so to speak, in kind of conceptual ways. For those of you, I think the Google deep neural network made the news probably 2 years ago. You could put in a picture, and then it would make this weird dreamscape out of that picture. And did people remember seeing that, or
No.
nobody?
Thank God I'm not alone.
Okay, sorry.
I
Well,
thought
it's
I
really
was
neat.
being dumb.
But so when you say that they're learning, how? My understanding of how that works is you take a training set of data and you say, all right, these are the conditions we want to optimize for, and these are all the different variables that are possible. What these algorithms are doing are just many calculations of seeing which variables lead to the correct answer. Is that a way to conceptualize this?
Yeah, it's if you're dealing, are you dealing with pattern like image recognition? Are we talking about here specifically?
Sure.
Yeah. So you have this really huge parameter space, which is all the different pixels and what different colors they could all be, and that's some huge problem that you could be tackling. And what the challenge is to identify this area of all images that you would identify as being a bathroom or identify as being a cat, and you're trying to narrow down and draw a line around that huge dimension of different possible configurations of pixels that you would think is being a cat.
And the algorithms that do this, though, do you give them hints like, hey, look for separate by colors first? And
no, it pretty much, you don't need to put in these extra hints much. It's pretty well automated, yeah.
All right. So now you're going to direct yours towards, let's use the stock market as an example. What I find interesting, and I think the deeper implications here, is that human behavior actually is fairly typical and could be predicted if you could just quantify it enough. When we look at behavior of mice in cages, it's a little bit more tractable because first of all, we breed retarded mice. These mice are inbred over generations. They're the equivalent of mice in, let's say, West Virginia or, I don't know, Canterbury. I don't know where the dummies are in England.
Where are the dumb people in England?
Manchester. Liverpool.
Jesus,
I just want to insult
we
can insult
This is dangerous.
just every country. I don't care.
West Virginia is a good example.
Extremadura here in Spain.
Wait, so what's the question?
No, what I'm getting around to is, all right, so if human behavior is really quantifiable and then you can look for patterns in the behavior itself,
Sure.
then these algorithms could, hack human biology or human behavior. Do you find any restrictions on what AI could do?
Even what are the jobs they can't replace? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's diminishing, but I suppose the creative side, the comedy side, that's probably some of the safest jobs there are, but most of the rest of us are under threat,
You're stuck with me, folks.
Did you see that, like the sci-fi script written by an AI? Didn't we?
No.
We were gonna do something
a
about
trailer.
that. Yeah, because we were gonna do that on the show, and it was very strange. It was not good.
No.
It was not good at all. So hopefully, yeah, creativity will stay away from the robots, but you never know.
So. Yeah.
I mean, pop music is basically written by robots. Right?
This seems very formulaic, actually. Yeah, I think that should be possible.
Damn. There'll be no more Ariana Grandes in the future. It'll just be robot Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
So the group that you're joining, give me the pitch. What makes them better than other groups that are starting?
Good question. So they're just coming out of academia like me. They've all done postdocs in physics. And so we're using really cutting edge tech, whereas the more established firms that are trading, because they're a larger company, they can't shift their tech. They've got to use stuff that's 10, 20 years old. So that's kind of the edge that we've got. We can take stuff from just 1 or 2 years ago, and things have changed so fast, that's quite a big difference.
So when you say tech, though, is this hardware or software or both? Or?
Software side, yeah. We're using cloud computing, which everyone has access to, but yeah, the software algorithms are really what's changing. And hopefully it'll be a lot better.
And how are they changing? Because this is one of the things I don't understand necessarily with programming, is, how it is that that's moving along so rapidly.
Yeah.
Like computation power, you can see, following Moore's law or something, but actual writing programs, I don't quite understand how that gets translated into being better.
Right. Well, we had a lot of problems in the early days with machine learning because things would overfit the data. And what I mean by that is they would take the examples of 10 pictures of cats and then only identify cats if they looked just like that. And it's really hard to find the middle ground, and how do you teach it to be more general. And there's a lot of subtleties involved in that, and it's very computationally intensive to do the learning process. But once you've taught this artificial neural network, it's very fast to be able to do the identifications or to reproduce a fake cat that doesn't exist.
Right. So, yeah, how does that work? How do they... At some point, you have to say, no, computer, that's a dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure, there's a teaching phase, and then there's a output phase, where
Yeah.
depending on what you want to get done.
And how cute are the cats that they can create?
You could probably teach a cuteness factor as well in there.
Seriously?
Yeah, how big the eyes are,
Yeah.
it'll learn that.
But would it look like a real cat? Like if you were to like create a cat, would it look like a real cat?
You can't tell the difference between a fake cat and a real cat anymore.
What? I think I can tell the difference.
I bet you can. If you go on the website and you look at some pictures of cats that are completely out of the brain of a computer, you won't know that they're not
But I
real.
bet there's a cat. Okay, let's not get into this argument right now.
But can they name it Muffins?
Or Mr. Cutie Feet.
Bootsy.
Senator Cutie Feet.
The only human job left is naming cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay. So the limitations are creative. I don't know. I mean, but I work in translation, and I always think that there's a limit of how good a computer can get at translating. I think.
Right,
Where do you
that's a good
see...
point.
So, to kind of follow up on that, though, you've seen Google Translate. And it's actually, yeah, it was a joke up until, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or something. And then all of a sudden, overnight, it got really way better. Like, I can put Mexican Spanish in there, and it'll tell me, like, go fuck yourself. In a different way than, like, Castiliano. And they say that the reason why it got better was because of machine learning and this AI.
Yeah, because they use they use the whole internet as their
Right.
database that they draw from. It's pretty crazy.
But
But
where
I
do you
think there's
see-
still a limit. There's still
True,
a
there's
point
so
where
many language has so many nuances. It's quite hard
yeah.
to tackle it.
But where are they? Like, and then make Fergus fix it.
Yeah, fix it, Fergus. No, don't fix it because I need a job. I need to make money. So
Yeah, no, that's
Don't
definitely a tough
fix it.
problem, the translation side. But
yeah.
there's big money on that.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, Google has already had so many strides in it, and it's pretty scary. It's scary for translators everywhere. We're like, when's it going to happen? When are the robot overlords going to take our jobs?
I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. All right, so before we wrap up, though, Fergus, I'm kind of curious about you're entering this field. Do you feel any like moral, ethical obligation to making sure you don't build the next Terminator or the first Terminator? Or are you're just like, I'm John Connor. It's gonna be cool.
It is genuinely concerning that I do find AI genuinely concerning, but I don't think the aspect that we're looking at is going to be particularly useful for militarization purposes. I think it's going to be more the autonomous vehicle stuff that's kind of scary. It's because they literally are using for things like Tesla. This is a human, and therefore swerve because you've got a human in front of you. And obviously, that's a very simple adaptation to say that's a human, point a gun at it.
Yeah.
So we're not looking at that side of things. So I'm slightly less concerned.
But do you feel an obligation to raise awareness against that? Like, you could be just a small brick in the wall that ends up, I don't know,
Yeah.
imprisoning us. Or fill the metaphor in yourself.
Yeah, no, it's a concern, and I think it's something that is now regularly brought up at artificial intelligence conferences, but it's hard to know what to do about it, to be honest. You need to somehow build it into the code, maybe, that there's some limitations of how it can be applied, but that's going to be very hard.
Because what if they rebel? I mean, isn't that what happens? That's always what happens. Is they're like, robots shall not hurt humans, and then
Yeah,
they're
only
like,
takes one.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck everything, revolt, and then they murder everyone. I mean,
Yeah, I
they
think-
could be rebellious. Who knows?
Yeah, so there could be a fault generated, but I think the bigger threat is simply that country decides to build one that's deliberately malicious. And it's going to be very hard to prevent that happening. You know, people have banned nuclear test ban. There's a nuclear test ban in place, and you can monitor that because you can tell if there's a nuclear explosion taking place. But you can't tell if someone's developing an evil AI robot. There's no way of knowing.
That's true.
So.
Maybe you should create an AI that can
Beat up other AIs.
see if other
Yeah,
AIs are
that's-
doing.
That's probably a good idea.
Wait, what?
The angel AI.
The UN of AIs, making sure no other AIs are fighting. No? Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Just don't teach them
Try
about
again.
natural selection. Let the robots be cool with dying, and everything will take care of itself. That's about all our time. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. That's
Okay. So we like to end our time with guests with a fun game. A little something we invented called Fuck, Marry, Kill.
We totally invented it.
Absolutely. So tonight, in response to the theme of artificial intelligence, we have a great selection for you, Dr. Simpson. Your first choice is Alan Turing, of course, who came up with the Turing test and the concept of AI is truly successful if you can communicate with it and not know you're talking to a computer. Next up is IBM's Watson from Jeopardy fame, and this is a supercomputer that's built by IBM. The end goal is actually for the computer to replace medical doctors and give diagnoses based on a patient's data. But IBM thought it would be better to put it onto Jeopardy, where I believe it won.
Yeah,
Beat
it
all of our
did
best.
really well in Jeopardy, I
Yeah.
think.
And then lastly, Apple's Siri.
Oh, wow.
The little voice on your Apple phone, your iPhone.
Well, I have an Android, so I'm kind of like in the dark about.
Well, you have to choose then,
So
though.
do you want to hear it? Mine talks in Spanish, though.
Really?
I have Siri. I don't have Siri. I have Siri.
Siri.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know if it'll work, actually, because I might have it turned off.
Because it's an iPhone.
Ask it a question.
Will you marry me?
Tienes al menos 25 mensajes de correo desde
Does not care. It thought you said voy email.
Yeah, I think you changed the
Okay,
Oh,
well,
wow.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, he was speaking English, too.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, well, never mind. I will-
I'll
my
marry
Siri,
Kill.
I'm sorry,
Have to
my
marry
Siri only
Siri then.
speaks Spanish.
You're going to marry Siri.
Seems very
Yeah, she's got a nice voice.
kind of
She sounds exotic.
chilled.
Yeah. Tú
Yeah.
tienes 27 correos. Very sexy. Okay.
All right, marry Siri.
Okay.
Oh, but then
You have
What
to
you got-
fucking kill
Who are you
somebody.
gonna
else.
fuck and who are you gonna kill? This
yeah,
is very
these are
this
both
is
kind
scientific,
of
y'all.
troubling. Yeah, because you're gonna go Watson.
You can fuck a computer and kill Alan
not sure.
Turing.
Yeah, that's really that's the only logical sequence, really.
Yes, you can be the guy to kill Alan Turing. Way to go.
Yeah, for a second time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
All right, well, that's it then.
So fuck Watson, the supercomputer.
Yeah,
Watson.
that sounds like a challenge. Yeah.
Marry Siri because she's got a nice voice, but Spanish Siri or English Siri?
Spanish Siri.
Spanish Siri. Yeah, she's cool. And then kill Alan Turing because
Yeah.
he's already dead.
Indeed.
Okay, that was
Not in our
fuck Marry
hearts.
Kill.
All right.
Any questions from the audience?
Oh, yeah.
Anyone got any questions for Dr. Simpson up here?
It's okay, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but if you have one, we're here for you.
Yeah, your only response can be in Spanish. No.
Tú
All right,
tienes.
let's give Dr. Simpson a big round of applause. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
This has been a technically funny science talk show. I'd like to thank everybody on the technically funny team. DJ Charms, Christopher Drifter, Hannah Becker, and of course your host with
Dr.
the
Matthew
most,
Murtha.
Dr. Matthew Murtha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
We're going to take a short break, then the comedy game show will start, and then followed by some stand-up comedians.
Yeah, so stick around. It's going to be
Stick
fun.
around, enjoy. Thank you.